What part of your personality do you fake? Intelligence. I've learned how to make myself seem like I know what I'm doing. For me, I didn't even work for it. People just assume that I know stuff. It's so awkward. I mostly just sit with my friends and nod along and sometimes throw in something like yeah sure like I know what they are talking about. I tried telling my BF, but he keeps on telling me that I'm so intelligent. Look up imposter syndrome. I used to think like you too, but over the years I've realized that I actually am as intelligent as other people seem to think. I just had a very warped sense of self-identity. I'm not saying that you are the same as me, but it is a possibility. Don't have energy to fake stuff anymore. I'm perpetually grumpy. I literally spend so much time on my own lately that I feel as though my whole personality is fake when I have to interact with others. Yay, I feel that way sometimes too. Good to see people that share these sorts of weird things with me. Yeah, and that one time you speak to someone for some reason you're like, why did I say that? Did I mean it? Did I just pretend to mean it? What the F did I mean? I sometimes feel as if I have to have these two personalities, which is so tiring sometimes. There are times when I don't know if I am lying to myself or others. Even my girlfriend and my parents have a different perception of who I am because I feel I have to be my best self in front of them. It is so exhausting and makes me want to run away and start new. My ability to perform small talk. I have absolutely no patience for it. I don't even know how to do it. Like, I see this people out there talking hours and I can't make a phone call longer than 20 seconds or a small talk with friends. Let them blab and ask questions. I've got an entire customer service personality that's fake. I work in customer service. It's gotten to the point where out of habit I'll say have a good day to friends and family in a weird and almost fake tone. Update. I just recently said have a good day to a waitress. I need help. This reminds me of my father in a different sense, and in a way that always made me laugh internally. My father was a car salesman. I'd wake up at normal hours on Sundays because he'd cook up a storm of a breakfast for those who were up. If you slept in, tough. When he'd ask you how you wanted your eggs cooked, it sounded like he was trying to sell you a car. Oh hey bud, could I interest you in some eggs? I think you'd like them sunny side up so you can dip them in this here wheat bread and they match perfectly. You don't want the white bread because it gets too soggy to fast with the eggs. And hey, if you don't want that I can do some scrambled eggs and bacon. That's always a good choice. Finishes cooking here ya go my friend. I hope you enjoy your rock bottom Breaktoberfest. Hahaha. I was out with a work friend once, and someone I knew from a hobby stopped by to say hi. After he left, my work friend was like, you were using the client voice with him. Do you not like him? Whenever I'm at work and I answer the phone, even if it's my personal phone and it's a family member, I use my customer service voice and it freaks people out. I don't mean to do it. It's just natural at this point. I am one of the most shy people you will ever meet. I switched grocery stores because the cashiers started to recognize me and wanted to chit chat. I didn't make one friend in college because I kept to myself. However, I am very successful at work because I know that if I don't put myself out there and act confident, I won't advance. I'm more scared of being destitute than I am shy, I guess. This extends to my relationships because I'm married. She asked me out though, and have a very tight-knit group of friends. There are certain things you just have to do. This is me. Even the wife asking me out part. One difference, I don't have a single friend. Not one. This bothers me because I know it's not normal. But between work and family, I really don't have the time or energy to be the kind of friend I would want to be. At least you found a girl though, so congratulations. Sure, but it's gonna be really awkward when she starts recognizing him and he has to switch to a different wife. I am in this post, and I don't like it. I don't know what parts are real and what parts are fake anymore, and that worries me. My experience is that if you fake a certain personality enough, then it becomes a part of you, even if the original intent was to fake it. So we can all become a mini Keanu Reeves if we roleplay hard enough. You're not alone in that, but only silence answered back. And in the deep, the dark, the black, the shadowed shade that makes the mind, the haunted space, the place behind the empty face inscribed with naught but only merely lonely thought, there came a simple, single sigh that whispered softly, who am I? I pretend I'm clueless a lot. It could be about work, or even just about something in life. You learn a lot about the person if you act clueless in something you're quite familiar with and they're trying to BS you with what they know very little about. Likewise, you can also digest some great information about their perspective on the topic and actually learn a tip or two if they are more knowledgeable and experienced than you. The latter is the main reason why I act this way, and it's actually amazing how much I have learned since then. It really is a win-win. You'll be able to identify quickly if you think this person will make a good or bad impact in your life. I don't act clueless. I usually am, but even if I do know something, sometimes it's easier to just let someone new explain it to me. Sometimes it's a reassurance that I understand the subject matter. Sometimes I find out that they do something differently and why they do it that way. Sometimes you just learn faster because you are learning everyone's culmination of knowledge and you can pick the method that works best for you. And you can look like a fast learner when you start acting on your actual knowledge skills. Ugh, I hate this though, because then I feel like I'm letting the person believe that they taught me all this information or that they've inspired me to do or learn about something that was already a part of my life. Ego suck, man. Being pleasant. Life has made me a bitter a-hole and I have to force myself to be nice. On the inside I usually want to scream at most people to F off. I can kind of identity with this. For me, it's not so much that I don't like you. It's that I actually just want to be left alone to do my own thing. The older I get, the more draining it's becoming for me to deal with other people and do anything not in my own time and my own way. These days I don't get enough sleep because of it, because I stay up until ungodly hours of the morning, cherishing every second of sweet alone time that I have. This is me. I need to be alone. I'm happy when nobody is around. People drain me like a vampire. Very fine words, my dear a-hole. Customer service jobs I have done for nearly 15 years and that stuff wears on you. Days off I just want to be left alone to play my PC games or watch anime and avoid human interactions of social obligations. Let me rest. Let me hear no one. Let me not speak a word for one day. Just one day please. And then someone knocks on your door to talk about the Lord and it's like son for B. Being outgoing. No, I don't want to go out and socialize. Yes, I will anyways. I can relate to this. Whenever I'm parties, I'm always faking that I enjoy small talk and meeting new people. But I can't stand small talk at all. I don't care where you work, Jonathan. I'm probably never going to see you again. Sometimes when I'm stuck in a conversation that I have no interest in, I end up thinking about weird like what would happen if I just slapped him? What if I pinch his nose? Should I stare at his teeth for no reason? I'll lick my lips and see how he reacts. I go out just so I don't resent myself in 20 years for not living up my 20s. I just tell myself I'll have loads of time down the track to play Banjo-Kazooie stoned in my undies eating roll-ups, so I make myself go out and at least half the time enjoy it. Sad to say, but alcohol does help with socializing for me. I went outside, I saw a cat, I saw a man who wore a hat, I saw a car, I saw a tree, I saw a yellow bumblebee. I went outside, I saw a school, I saw an open swimming pool, I saw a road, I saw a street, I saw a field of waving wheat. I went outside, I saw a pond. I saw the world that waits beyond. I went outside for what I'll lack. I don't think I'll be going back. I'm the opposite now. No, I don't want to go out and socialize. And I finally feel comfortable telling people no. Why not? Cause I don't feel like it. I'm going home. It's so nice. Yeah, same. I'm only comfortable with close friends and more quiet settings and don't really enjoy going out for drinks and stuff. But I have found a workaround. I picked up salsa dancing and got moderately good at it. So now I can go out to Latin clubs and not be like a fish out of water. The trick here is that there's minimal socialization involved, you just dance with people. Others will still think you're outgoing and but it's perfectly normal to keep everything at just dancing and no talking, unless someone catches your eye, of course. Stuff like team sports are also a good solution, but there are no girls there. The functional part. I'm actually a walking disaster. Me too. Me too. Don't fret too much about it. Most people are. Once you take a step back and realize most people don't know what the F they're doing any more than you do, life becomes a little more bearable. Toughness. I'm actually very sensitive and easily affected. Same. It boils down to two elements for me. One is a self-defense mechanism. Don't want to seem fragile and let people know that I have feelings that can be taken advantage of, so I come off as cold and uncaring. Insensitive. 2 is not wanting to burden others with my feelings. I guess I'm not comfortable being vulnerable, even with my so close friends and family. This is due to multiple reasons, but mainly when I've allowed myself to be openly vulnerable, my trust has been betrayed and I've been abused or belittled. And I guess that's how I got to number 1 to begin with. I didn't write this, but I feel it so deeply. Get out of my head, man. Redacted for personal reasons. Sorry everyone. You should invite her for lunch. She might think you don't enjoy it for whatever reason. One thing I've learned is that, even if you hate to appear that way, it's 10 seconds of embarrassment over regret of inaction that'll last a long time. I'm a lot more judgmental than I let on. My internal monologue is probably the biggest a-hole I know. I'm so quick to judge everyone around me, for anything, and it's definitely one of the things I hate most. Something that helps me whenever I'm instantly being too critical of people is to make an active choice to pick out 3 things that I do appreciate or value about them. The first thought that pops into your head is what you've been taught to think, and the second one is what you choose to think. I found this helps with self-confidence too. BC, the less you judge other people, the less you judge yourself. Me too. I always pretend to be dumber than I actually am so I can lower their expectations and then they'll be surprised. When I was doing my first internship, I made friends with an old engineer and we developed a sort of mentor-protege relationship. He was very knowledgeable, always up for a talk, had a teacher's mentality. He was just great. Also, his daughter was absurdly hot. That was irrelevant, but she was really effing hot and I always think of her when I think about him. Anyway, as the weeks passed, I decided he was one of the 3 non-morons on the entire department. 15-20 people. The second non-moron was one of the most unpleasant men I've met in my life, whereas the third, let's call him Mark cause I can't remember his name, was kind and hardworking. So much, in fact, that every moron on the department was going to him for help. That got me curious, so I asked the boss. I called my mentor boss, why more people didn't come to him for help. He was just as easygoing and probably more knowledgeable than Mark due to sheer experience. He told me that he used to be the department's Mark when he started out. People would come to him with all sorts of stuff and he'd help them. It got so bad that people from other departments started coming to him and he'd work all the time for stuff that weren't even his responsibility. He finally found the solution. He started playing dumb and telling people I don't know, even if it was something that I, in turn, could have figured out. The response was the same. Sorry, I have no idea. I do the same, but it's mainly because you can't let someone down if they didn't think you could do it anyways. Being ambitious. Yes, I do want to be promoted. Also, what's the bare minimum I have to do to achieve that? To be fair, there are a lot of promotions that sound like here's $2 extra for 20 extra responsibilities. All promotions are that. The key is to get to a position where it goes $2 extra, 20 extra responsibilities but 10 people to delegate to. What? You're applying to Chick-fil-A and you aren't planning on working your way up to CEO while you're here? I guess we'll pick someone who cares about more than money. I have a LWI's had a passion for FRIEDC Hicken. I hate how people see a lack of ambition as laziness or something. I don't want to be constantly climbing. I just want a modest job that pays enough for me to have simple pleasures. I had a mid-year review at my job the other day and when asked, do you want to move up and take on more responsibility? I said no. I am happy with what I do and get paid quite well to do it. My supervisor was like, okay, fair, but can we say you're willing to train new people so management doesn't think you're just coasting? I don't get it. I do something I enjoy and adding more to that will make me enjoy it less for a very small increase in pay. What's wrong with doing what you like and not trying to constantly climb the ladder? Maybe I like the view here. I'm a programmer and I have no passion for it at all. Outside of work, I don't think about it. My colleagues don't get it. The only reason I want to be better is to get more money. A simple life is a happy life. Damn. That's literally me. Honestly, if I could just get enough money to have my basic needs fulfilled without much work, I wouldn't mind. I care more about not exerting myself too much than having a BMW. Whenever my co-workers are sick and they stay at home, they always call and say sh like I'm bored. There's nothing to do around here. and I just do not understand how that's possible. These people work because their lives are boring as F. They have nothing. I told them my dream job is being free to do as I please, because I have thousands of ideas and stuff I can think of, from doing physical exercises at my leisure, which I used to do before starting to work, to learning, reading, building, assembling, thinking, designing, crafting, making, going out, etc. When I'm sick, there's so much stuff I can do to keep myself busy. I just don't understand how you can get bored at home. Give me a base salary and my A will be happy to F off and do as I please day in and day out. I always pass this off as being efficient rather than lazy. Efficiency is clever laziness. My cheery attitude around people. By default I am very bland and depressed. Interest. A lot of the time when it seems like I'm listening and interested in what you're saying, I'm not. A lot of the time I really don't give a F. This mindset is a really frustrating one to have if you're not an a-hole. It means you're just trapped in a lot of really boring, well, from your own perspective, conversations, but unable to exit because you don't want to make someone feel bad. I'm always craving deep conversations, so I tend to zone out to think what I can do to take the conversation to another level. I'm not trying to be an A, but it's hard trying to explain that without ruining the mood. I wish I could just listen better and let the conversation run naturally. Politeness. I'm not an a-hole, but sometimes I really hate the pleasantries that are expected on a daily basis, specifically the workplace. Also, I feel like I act more confident and aggressive than I actually am because I work in a male-dominant field and I don't want to be looked down on. I work in customer service, so I can relate. What kind of politeness do you fake though? Because some of the stuff considered polite, I stopped doing completely. Happiness. I don't think I'm faking happiness when I interact with people, but it takes a lot of digging down to reach it. The feeling itself is honest, but there's other important stuff that should have been dealt with a long time ago. Confidence. Obligatory. I feel like this one is something a lot of people fake. We're our worst critic. If confidence is a state of mind, wouldn't faking confidence make you confident? I remember a career advisor telling me once, you're not as confident as you think you are, which still seems like a paradox. Maybe it comes across as a David Brent Michael Scott type of delusional confidence. Even if at 17 I thought I was God's got, but my slight speech impediment and nervous hand movements gave away my inner insecurities. Haha. I guess confidence needs a strong foundation of self-security. At what point is faking confidence just confidence itself? You had the confidence to fake it. It's like, when does ironically doing something become actually doing something? Your perception of confidence is probably very different to others' perception of your confidence. I don't know if we should quantify such things by our inner nervousness and doubts. Definitely confidence at work. Led a meeting with a bunch of engineers today to go over a piece of code they developed that was relevant to finance accounting. My coworker was impressed that I appeared to understand their code in detail, but I was completely BSing based on my cursory knowledge and was just fishing for their explanations. Me too. But I've often found that if I fake it to start with at work, then I kind of grow into it as I go along. It's odd. Faking confidence requires confidence. Most of it TBH. I grew up in an emotionally toxic home and I learned to pick up on people's moods as a defense mechanism. Now that I am an adult, I use it somewhat to my advantage and can adapt my personality to basically get along with everyone. It's something that I am trying to do less, as it is very emotionally exhausting for me to be on for a whole workday. It was much easier in college when I didn't see people as much. To most people I am incredibly positive, chipper, outgoing, and funny. Honestly, I'm pretty nihilistic, suffer from social anxiety, and I take most of my jokes from the offhanded comment. It makes dating difficult as people tend to fall in love with the first me that I present and not who I actually am. Oh dude, I'm there. I have just reached a point now where I no longer want to change my approach and mindset for every single person I encounter. I was basically trained like a monkey to empathize, de-skill it, and forgive people. Now I just don't have the energy, so I'm cutting some shit of my life and not taking on that baggage. My new motto. That sounds like a you problem. I'm in this comment, but I have no idea how else to approach situations. My dumb monkey brain is 100% convinced that anything that could escalate conflict is always a bad idea. Being cheerful in a social situation that I absolutely don't want to be in. That I care about the strangers around me. I generally don't give a Impartiality. Some of my friends go to me for advice thinking I'm this calm, collected, wise, third-party advisor. Admittedly, as much as I want to help them, I have my own biases and terrible advice to give. I still maintain this wise advisor image in front of them though, partially out of my own desire to help them. Even if those desires might be wrong or misplaced sometimes, I feel that it also makes it hard when you want advice because you are seen as the advice giver, not someone who needs advice. I often find myself struggling through problems alone because I don't want to break the facade of being wise and able to figure a solution to all problems I'm presented with. I actually think your tattoo idea is trash and I'm not proud of doing it even though I said it was rad. I like paying rent though, what can I say? I have a really good memory, but I hold back a lot on it because it can weird people out when you remember random things that happened months or years ago. First day of class, 9th grade. I sit next to a girl. We begin to chat. I casually mention that she and I went to the same dojo and summer club, and her younger brother's name is Matt and he's a funny, good kid, and her mom is a diving instructor, right? She never sat next to me again or spoke to me. That was the day I learned to keep that to myself instead of vomiting out everything I remember about someone. The social part. I fake apathy a lot for no apparent reason. Other side of the spectrum here. I feel like I'm constantly faking empathy. I mean, it's cathartic for people to talk about things, so I listen and try to make them feel as validated as possible. But honestly, my monkey sphere is tiny and I struggle to really care about your problems. However, through this I've realized that people don't really care about my problems either, which makes me feel like less of a dick. If you let someone rant until they feel better, without interjecting anything about yourself, chances are they'll just follow it up with a half-hearted "but what's up with you who?" or just move on, because you've fulfilled your purpose as a soundboard. Everything. F. You and me both, grandma. I only mirror the emotions of people around me in social situations. I have none of my own. This may come as a shock to many of you, but my name isn't really Broshanks. We have been bamboozled. We've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled. My dad likes to think he's really smart, so when I'm around him I act clueless so he can teach me something and be happy. I guess my personality is different based on who I'm around, but generally I just try to show what people want to see and expect of me, and hide what I want to do and think's inside. It's like conflict and I don't like being bothered. I figured that way you go through life easily. I only show how I really am to very few people that I really trust and feel comfortable around. Basically my gel fire and 2-3 best friends. I'm a really introverted person who likes peace and quiet. But even though I act that I don't really care about most things and they don't faze me, I'm really easily hurt by most things and I'm really stressed about almost everything and assume worst case scenario, which blocks me from doing some stuff. Being friendly to acquaintances. I have enough friends. My neighbors are really chatty and I just want to get into my house and not talk to anyone. I have to talk to people all day at work. When I'm finished I don't want to stand in front of my house and make awkward small talk for an hour. But I do anyway because I don't want to be rude. My happiness. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Being willing to go out and do things. I mean, it's not hard. I just agree to go and I typically enjoy it. But depression can make it really hard to want to do things and hang out with people. Being interested in babies. I really don't care about your kid. I just know it's social suicide to say so. I see a lot more than people think. They tend to take my quietness for obliviousness. I only tolerate others to accomplish my goals and keep the peace for my own comfort.